All right, hi everyone. Welcome to today's training webinar. My name is Jamie Brun and I'm part of the support team here at SuiteFiles. So today's training webinar is for the XPM integration. And the XPM integration we're going to cover in particular the functionality that our Chrome extension actually provides. We did actually cover the population of templates with your clients from XPM yesterday in yesterday's webinar. If anyone missed that, please feel free to let me know through the Q&A section and I can go through that at the end of this webinar. But otherwise, we're going to focus on that Chrome extension stuff. And just so everyone's aware, I am recording this webinar. The recording will be uploaded to our YouTube channel, so you can watch the recording of that. And our YouTube channel is simply called SuiteFiles. If anyone has any questions at any time, please feel free to send them through the Q&A section of the webinar tool that we're using. I'll be keeping an eye out on that section, so if any questions come through and it's kind of appropriate to answer those at the time, I will definitely be responding to those. If any questions come through that might not be related to what we're going through, that's totally fine, but I'll probably leave those kind of questions to the end of the webinar, so just be aware of that. All right, so let's get to it. So what we want to actually do first is install our Chrome extension. So to do this, we go to the top right of the SuiteFiles web app. We click on our username and we click the Download Apps button. This gives us the option to download the SuiteFiles add-ons. Now, the specific one we're downloading here is the Chrome extension. So underneath where it says Chrome extension, we want to click on the Download button. This will take us to the Chrome web store. And as you can see at the top right here, we have a button that says Add to Chrome. So we want to click that Add to Chrome button, like so. In this little pop-up, we want to click the Add Extension button. Now, once we've done that, we should see this kind of notification pop up saying that SuiteFiles has been added to Chrome. But basically what we do now is right at the top right of this browser, we want to click on the SuiteFiles icon, as this is our Chrome extension, and we now need to log in. Now, if you are using multi-factor authentication with your Office 365 login, or if you're using a single sign-on solution, like I think it's Practice Protect, that kind of thing where maybe you don't know your password or you need to go through the official kind of Office 365 login process, then what you want to do is you want to click this advanced login link. This will ask you to enter in your SuiteFiles URL, and you should probably already be signed into Office 365 in the browser, and it will automatically log you into the Chrome extension. It's a really easy login method. You can use it even if you don't have two-factor authentication or anything. If for any reason you have trouble with this normal login page or you can't remember your Office password, feel free to click this link and go through that login process instead, as you'll go through the Office login page. And if you're already logged into Office in the browser, you won't actually need to enter your password again. If you want to go through the normal login window here, what we do is we first need to enter in our SuiteFiles URL. The easiest way to do that is to copy and paste it from the browser. You want to take the URL up to .com. So I'm going to copy this part, like so. I'm going to open up that login window again by clicking on the SuiteFiles icon. I'm going to paste that SuiteFiles site URL here. And the next field I need to enter in is the username. So for the username field, it's actually just your Office 365 email address. So for me, that's going to be jamie@demosuite.microsoft.com. And then the password is going to be your Office 365 password, which we would hope is not password 123. Now simply click the login button here. And you need to allow this window to go through that login process. If you actually click out of the window, it will interrupt the login process. So just allow it to finish logging in before you start going ahead and doing things. Cool, so now we've got confirmation that we're actually logged into the Chrome extension. We can see the user that we're logged in as, and we can see the site that we're currently logged into. So now that we have the Chrome extension logged in, we can start having a look at some of the functionality that this actually provides us in the XPM interface. Okay, cool. The first thing we want to have a look at is what happens when we actually create a new client in XPM. So I'm currently in the Zero Practice Manager. I'm going to go ahead and create a new client. And we're going to call this client. Well, it's difficult to come up with a name. Let's call it HDMI Accounting, because that makes sense. Now, this is actually a client that doesn't have a folder in my SuiteFiles site, which I'll just show you. If I go into my clients folder in SuiteFiles and were to look for any folders that begin with HDMI, we won't have any subfolders returned as results. There's currently no client folder for it. But let's say we have a client like 99 Corporation, which we already have a folder for in our SuiteFiles site. If we were to type that in as the client name instead, like so, the Chrome extension will actually pop up this little message at the right-hand side of that text box that just tells you that there's already a client folder for that client in your SuiteFiles site. Doesn't mean you can't create that client in XPM, it's just letting you know. But I'm going to create a completely new client that doesn't already have a folder in SuiteFiles, which is going to be HDMI Accounting, like so. Now, once you click the Save button to finish creating that new client in XPM, what that Chrome extension is going to do is it's going to recognize the fact that you're actually adding a new client in XPM. It's going to check, and if it can't see that there's actually a folder for that client in your SuiteFiles site, it's going to prompt you and ask you if you'd like to have a folder for that client created in your SuiteFiles site. Now, looks like XPM is actually having an issue creating this client. I have a feeling that could be it's an issue on my end. I don't have an Ethernet cable in here, sorry. Let me double check. Sorry about this, guys. Nope. Let me just try this again. Just try refreshing this. Not sure what's going on here. Okay, we're just going to try again with the same client name. I do need to be able to spell correctly. Cool. I'm going to click the Save button. Hopefully it'll work this time. Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's worked. So you can see now that the client has been created in XPM, and when it has, the Chrome extension brings up this little prompt that says, would you like to save a HDMI accounting client folder in your SuiteFiles site? What we can do is we can actually select a folder template that we'd like to use. Sorry, I'm losing track of my mouse. So you can click on this drop down to select a folder template. I'm going to use a new client company folders template that I have. You don't have to select a folder template for this, but if you do, then when you click the create button, instead of just creating a new empty client folder in SuiteFiles, it will create a new client folder in SuiteFiles that has that folder template structure underneath it. So I'm going to click the create button, and what we'll see, first we'll actually see a link pops up here. This link will take you directly to that particular client folder in your SuiteFiles site. So if I click on this link, it opens up that client folder in SuiteFiles, as you can see here. And so we actually now have that HDMI accounting client folder in our SuiteFiles site, and it's used that folder template to create this folder structure underneath it. So really useful. Not only does it shortcut the process of creating a client folder in SuiteFiles, but it provides consistency. It's one of the kind of most important parts of this feature because it eliminates things like typos or any kind of difference in formatting of the names or special characters or anything like that. So that link will definitely work. So I'd highly recommend using that to create new client folders in SuiteFiles, as long as you don't already have a folder for that client in your SuiteFiles site. There's a few things to kind of go through with these links and how they work, because that is a big part of this. So if anyone has any questions about any of the kind of client link stuff here that we're going to go through, please feel free to let me know at any time, and I'll keep an eye out for that. But basically, this was just for a client. And so let's say that we were actually going to add this client to a group in XPM. Then what happens at the moment, if we add it to a group, nothing will happen. But let me just show you that. We click add. We've added it to a group, and that's it. We don't get any kind of prompt to add it into a group folder in our SuiteFiles site. And maybe that's something that we do want. If it is, what we want to do is just, I'm just going to remove that group for now, but you want to actually go into the Chrome extension settings and enable a feature which will allow you to do this. So to do that, we go to the top right of the browser and we right click on the SuiteFiles Chrome extension here. We click on options. This opens up the Chrome extensions options page. What we want to do here is we want to enable the client grouping prompts in XPM. Now, this is a beta testing feature. However, we haven't, I think we haven't really had any kind of issues with it, or very little issues. So it's completely fine to use as far as I'm aware. But feel free to turn that on here. And once you close the settings page, that will save the new setting. And now if I go ahead, actually let me just refresh the page just in case that setting won't apply yet. Okay, so we can see that our client folder is just set up directly under the clients folder in our SuiteFiles site. But if I now go and add this client to a group in XPM, like so, add, that Chrome extension is actually going to pick that up. As you can see, it's going to ask us if we'd actually like to have our client folder moved in SuiteFiles from being directly under the clients folder to now being under a group folder in our clients folder in SuiteFiles. If we click yes to this, we can see the new folder structure that client's in SuiteFiles. So it's now actually not just directly clients/HDMI accounting, it's now clients/home trust group/HDMI accounting. If we go back to our SuiteFiles site, if we actually look for the HDMI accounting folder by doing a folder filter, we'll see it's no longer directly under our clients folder. But if we go into that group folder, which was the home trust group, like so, we'll see that our, there we go, HDMI accounting folder is now within this home trust group folder. So that link again provides consistency. It does automate moving that client folder into a group folder in your site. But again, it's really about that consistency. And if you don't already have a group folder for that particular group in your SuiteFiles site, then it will automatically create that group folder, then move the client folder into that group for you. So that's how that can work with groups. Now, let's just remove it from a group. If you remove it from a group, it will do the opposite. It will ask you if you'd like to have it moved out of that group folder to now be directly under the clients folder. We can click yes to that, and again, it'll be back to being directly under clients. Now, let's say we actually delete. Can I delete? Do I have permissions to delete? Let's say we delete that client folder in SuiteFiles. Or in other words, we just didn't have a client folder for that client to begin with, but we do have that client in XPM. Then when you load up that client in XPM, you're not going to have a link show up here because there is no folder for that client in your SuiteFiles site. And it's doing it based on looking at this client name in XPM being a match to the folder name in your SuiteFiles site. Which there currently isn't any client folder called HDMI accounting in my site because I just deleted it. So what you get instead is you get this message telling us no client with this name in SuiteFiles, and we can click this create in SuiteFiles button, and That similar detected client section will just look for any client folder that has a very similar name. And when I say very similar, I mean it's only like 1 or 2 letters are different, because it's really aimed around trying to match up a client if the only difference is like a typo, for example, or a difference of like there being a double space somewhere in the name. It's actually picked up HDMI accounting as being a similar detected client because it's actually deleted, but it seems like that might actually be cached in the browser. So this is actually not what it should be displaying. If you want to go ahead and still actually have a client folder created in your SuiteFiles site for that client, you can now do it through here. So you can actually choose your folder template again, like so, and then you can click the create button, and this will go ahead and then create that client folder in your SuiteFiles site for you. Just be careful, if you do already have a folder for that client in SuiteFiles, but the name is just not quite an exact match, then you'll end up creating a duplicate folder. And if you start uploading things to both duplicate folders, they're very difficult to merge, particularly if they have levels of subfolders underneath them, and there isn't kind of a merge function to just merge folders. It's very, very manual, so just be careful that you don't create duplicate folders. So yeah, we can see that it's created that client folder. Let's say we go ahead and rename the client folder. Rename the client in XPM. Let's go to edit. So we were renaming this to VGA accounting. And we click save. We've renamed the client in XPM. The Chrome extension will pick this up, and it's actually going to ask us if we'd like to have our client folder and our SuiteFiles site renamed from HDMI accounting to now be VGA accounting. We can click yes to this, like so. And you can see that the client folder in SuiteFiles, if we just do a quick filter, whoops, sorry, I actually typed in that filter wrong. There will no longer be a client folder called HDMI accounting. It's now going to be called VGA accounting, like so. So that's how that works. If you archive a client in XPM, like so, again, you're going to get the same kind of thing. The Chrome extension will pick this up. It's going to ask you if you'd like to have the client folder to also be archived in your SuiteFiles site. And if you were to unarchive the folder, you would get the same prompt. If I type in VGA again, it's no longer going to show up because it's been archived, and on my SuiteFiles site, my settings are actually set so that I don't see archived content. But if I change this so I can see archived content on my SuiteFiles site, then as you can see, I can now see that folder. So that's how that works. There's also some information to know around how these client links kind of work in terms of character substitution. So if you have an ampersand in a client name in XPM, let's find an example. I think there's a Jack and Jill or something rather here. Jack and Jill. Okay, so ampersands have actually a kind of special replacement for that link to work. There is some kind of historic reasons as to why these special characters were substituted. We've just kind of got to keep things this way for now. But basically, when your client name in XPM has an ampersand, it has to be replaced with the word "and" in the client folder in SuiteFiles. So this is XPM name. Whoops, that's not actually what I wanted to do. I just want to highlight this part, but as you can see, this is the name of the client folder in SuiteFiles. So in SuiteFiles, it doesn't have an ampersand, but rather it has the word "and." So that's how that works. If you have an ampersand in the client folder name in SuiteFiles, so if it was Jack ampersand Jill in SuiteFiles, that client link wouldn't actually work, wouldn't show up because it doesn't have the correct character replacement. There's a few other characters that are treated like this as well. As a matter of fact, let me just quickly double check what those characters are. Just quickly check that out. I believe it's things like an apostrophe, a comma, like a dot, and slashes. But let me just double check. I can normally remember this. Okay. So I do have a little list here, but it is from a script, so it's not in the best format. Let me just kind of make this a bit more readable. Okay, so these are the special characters here that all get replaced with an underscore in the client folder name and SuiteFiles. So for example, if we had a XPM client named well, actually let's go it's probably the most common kind of name that I see it with, but O'Brien, I'm not very good at making up names, but let's just say PTY dot with an LTD because I see that all the time. Suite client folder would be named O underscore Brian PTY underscore space LTD. This being the XPM name, this being the folder name in SuiteFiles that would link to. Okay, if this underscore was an apostrophe in our client folder name in SuiteFiles, it wouldn't link. It has to be replaced with an underscore. Now, you don't actually need to worry about this special character replacement if you let those prompts create the client folder for you, because the prompts will do that character replacement automatically. So that way you really won't need to worry about it. Cool. So that's kind of the end of the client links and how that all works. There are a few more really little kind of links that are the same idea to go through, but that's covered kind of the main client linking section. If anyone has any questions about any of that, how any of that works, please feel free to let me know through the Q&A section now. I will just kind of go through those other little links now as well, but yeah, feel free to send through those questions at any time. So the other thing is that if you create a new job or a new quote in SuiteFiles, you can also use those prompts to have the quote or job folder created in your SuiteFiles site. So if I go to the new button here, and if I were to create a new job or a new quote, it doesn't actually make a difference which option you use. But let's say we call this Suite Quote, like so, and we click the next button. The Chrome extension is going to work its magic. It's going to ask us if we'd like to have a subfolder for that particular quote or job created in our SuiteFiles site. It would create it under the client folder, and it would actually create a quote subfolder if there wasn't one there already. And that quotes folder would be directly under the client folder in SuiteFiles, and it would create that specific folder for that job or quote under that quotes or jobs subfolder in SuiteFiles. So if I go ahead and create this, I'll show you kind of what that looks like. So that we actually get a link here as well that will go to that quote folder. If we click on that, we can see that underneath our Jack and Jill client folder in SuiteFiles, It's created a quotes subfolder, and it's created that specific quote name for a folder as well. So we can put any documents, anything that is specifically for this quote or job, we could put into that relevant folder. We actually have a job subfolder, so I must have used this one as or someone's used this as an example before. So you can see for jobs, it's the exact same functionality, creates the jobs folder, then creates these job numbers and job names folders for those specific jobs, like so. Cool. Now that's it for all of the kind of linking. The other thing is for zero work papers. So let's actually close our many SuiteFiles tabs there. Let's go into zero work papers and just have a look at what we can do from here using the Chrome extension to export some things into our SuiteFiles site. So if we actually open up a work paper pack in XPM, in zero work papers, let's open up a work paper pack here. We already have it open, of course. If we actually go to the export work papers button here, we have a few options of different ways that we can export this work paper pack. So we can choose to export it as a PDF into SuiteFiles. We can choose to export it as a zip file into SuiteFiles. Now, I'll show you what happens for both options. But basically, if we export as a PDF, we get this little location chooser pop up. And what we need to do here is navigate through our site and select the folder we'd actually like to have this work paper pack exported into. I'm going to go into my clients folder. I'm going to actually select 99 Corporation, seeing this is the work paper pack 2019. And this is the folder I'd like to save it to, so I'm going to click select folder. It's going to go ahead and export or save that work paper pack into that particular folder I just selected. We can see there's actually a loading icon which will show up at the bottom right of the browser. It's actually gone now because it's already finished. And if I go into that client folder, 99 Corporation 2019, we can see that work paper pack has just been uploaded, has saved as a PDF file. If we open up that PDF file, we can see all of the relevant information from that work paper pack in this one single PDF file. Now, if we go into the Zero Work Papers tab here, if we go ahead and go export work papers and select the option to export it as a zip file, it's the same kind of idea. You get this location chooser where you need to go through your SuiteFiles site and actually select the folder you'd like to save the work paper pack into. I'm going to select 99 Corporation, like so. If we go ahead and actually select the 2019 folder again and click select folder, this will export that work paper pack into that folder I just chose. It's actually the same folder we just saved the PDF into. I'm just going to let that load and do its thing. And in just a couple of seconds, that should be finished exporting. Cool, done. Okay, let's go into our SuiteFiles site. I'm just going to click on the folder to refresh it. Cool, so we can see that zip file has uploaded. Now, if I click on that zip file, it shows me a little preview of what's in there. We actually have three different PDF files, which each kind of have their own kind of stuff in them. So it's a bit different in how it downloads them, depending on whether it's a PDF or a zip file. Zip file has these three PDFs exported in it, whereas the PDF option just exports one PDF with everything in there. So that's how exporting work papers works. The other thing is if we go into some reports, so if we go into the Practice Manager again, we can also export some XPM reports into our SuiteFiles site. So if we go into a report or reports, I think we're going to do job report, Q, print. There's actually an option here to export it as a PDF into SuiteFiles. If we click on that, it's the exact same thing as for work papers. You get this little window. You select the folder path that you'd like to save to in SuiteFiles. like so. And then you click the select folder button to kind of confirm that's the folder you'd like it saved to. If we refresh that folder, we can see that job report has now been saved as a PDF in our SuiteFiles site. So that's how that all works. Now let's say we're somewhere where there's no option to export it into SuiteFiles, which I do know that Zero tax returns, for example, won't have the option to export it as a PDF into SuiteFiles. Blue Zero, I don't think will have an option to export it into SuiteFiles. Anywhere that it doesn't have this button here, you can do the whole kind of normal save as PDF or export as PDF or print. And anytime you open up the PDF in the browser to print like this, you can go ahead with the kind of print like so, and then you can actually select SuiteFiles as a printer. So if we change the printer, the Chrome extension actually provides SuiteFiles as a printer. It's a very kind of random thing. We actually had an intern developer come up with this as a solution to not being able to put buttons everywhere to do this, which is a very really cool kind of workaround. So we can actually select SuiteFiles as a printer here, and when we click print, it's actually going to bring up the location chooser where we can go ahead and choose where we want it to be saved to in our SuiteFiles site. 2019, like so. The only difference with this location chooser is we have to provide a name for the file. So at the top left text field here where it says file name, we just have to manually enter in a name for this file. Report's not for that particular client, but never mind. And then you click the save file button, and this one here, we can see that's been exported into our SuiteFiles site. Now, that option of selecting SuiteFiles as a printer is one way to do things, but there are also plenty of other ways you can do the same thing. For example, if you downloaded the PDF instead, you could download and save it into your SuiteFiles drive. The other thing you could do, is you could save it to your site. Sorry, not to your site. You could just download it locally, and then you could actually drag and drop it into that folder in your SuiteFiles site, because you can drag and drop files into the browser, and that will upload it into the folder that's currently open, like so. So there are a few other ways that you can do the same thing. Really up to you on which way works best for you, which way you find faster, more efficient, or easier to use. People are always going to have slightly different preferences to how they like to go about that. That actually comes to the end of the training webinar. I do see that we have a question that's come through. So is there a way where we can link a file in SuiteFiles to Zero workpapers? If you edit a file in SuiteFiles, it will automatically update in Zero workpapers since it is linked. Interesting. Okay. I think I know what you're talking about. Let me have a quick go at this, because this has come up before and I used to get very confused by it, to be honest. But I think I know how you do it now. So I think when you're in a work paper, I think you add a new client query, don't you? And then you go attach a document. Is this part here what you're referring to? So I can't remember exactly where it was, but is this choose file where you select that file to link? Because if it is, you can select the file using the SuiteFiles Drive app, seeing it opens to the File Explorer. So we could go like this. So this is everything from our SuiteFiles site, because this is the SuiteFiles Drive. If I selected, I don't know, August report or something, it will be attaching a support document. we'll be adding a supporting document. Yeah, so sorry, this is where I always get really confused. Is this what I've just done the correct thing or not? Oh, like this. That was it, wasn't it? Cool. I think that was it, wasn't it? If so, then yes, you can do that. Just use the SuiteFiles Drive app to attach it. We have had, I believe we've had a few people do that before. But yeah, so you can use the SuiteFiles Drive app to do so. I think I just keep looking at it. Yeah, if there are any other questions about anything there, please feel free to let me know now. Just remember there will be a recording of this uploaded to our YouTube channel, which is simply called SuiteFiles. The other thing is if we go to our Help Center, which you can get to from the SuiteFiles site by clicking on your username, then clicking the Help Center button, or you can just simply type in the URL, suitehelp.suitefiles.com. If you Googled SuiteFiles help, you'd probably also get to it. We actually have a section. The first one is for setting up the browser. If we go into here, there's something for installing the Chrome extension. These instructions just tell you and show you how you can install our Chrome extension, but there's also a feature list here near the bottom of the page. So this is installing it, blah, 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 blah. And we have a list of the features that this Chrome extension provides. And some of the things, options. But these links under this features list, for example, creating new clients with folder templates, this will kind of show you and tell you how you can do that. That GIF actually looks very fast. We need to put that in slow motion or something. But yeah, so we do have instructions for these things on our Help Center. And if anyone has any trouble with anything, feel free to contact our support team, which is just support@suitefiles.com. Let me type that in here, support@suitefiles.com, like so. All right, cool. Thanks for attending today's training webinar, everyone. I hope you all learned a lot about it, about the Chrome extension and the kind of XPM integration stuff that provides. And yeah, thanks everyone for attending the webinar, and I hope you all enjoy the rest of your afternoons. All right, awesome. Thanks everyone.